Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming. How was your trip getting here?
It was good. Minimal traffic.
Okay, good. Okay, so last week we kind of talked a little bit about how we start our sessions each week. And the first thing that we do is a mood check, and that is a scaling question so that we're able to track how we're working together, how things are going, how your weeks are going, and things like that. So my first question is, how would you rate your depression this week? 10 being the worst week ever, and 1 being you had no depression at all.
Probably like a 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little bit better than last week. Last week I think you said it was probably about a 9 or a 10. So that's good. So really quick, let's go ahead and set an agenda for today. The first thing that we're going to do is I'll have you talk a little bit more about your week and how things went. Then we'll review the homework assignment that you worked on. And then we'll go ahead and prioritize today's session of what goals that you would like to set. And then we'll work through some CBT. And then we'll set some new homework for next week. And then we'll finish up with a summary, and I'll have you give me some feedback of what worked for you and what didn't. Does that sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to add to the agenda? Anything that is just pending that you really would like to talk about? No? Okay.
I think right now, nothing
extra.
right now.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so how have you been since we met last week?
Well, a little better.
Mm-hmm.
But not great.
Okay, yeah. So I remember last week we talked a little bit about work and how work was going, and how you had maybe a little bit of issues with coworkers. Can you tell me some more about that?
Yeah, I just feel like they don't appreciate me. They don't feel like I add anything to the team, which I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe they're right.
Okay. All right. So you feel that you're not appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Can you maybe tell me like a little bit about one experience or one example that happened this week, just so I have a better picture of what that looks like?
Yeah, I got a phone call and they needed to talk to one of the girls in the back, so I called them. No one answered the call. I'm like, okay, well maybe they're busy, so I went back and looked. They're all sitting at their desks. So they're there.
Yeah.
They ignored my call.
On purpose, you feel?
And they do that all the time.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And a little bit later, we'll be able to kind of talk through that and see what was really happening, what's going on there. So let's review your homework. What was your homework assignment last week?
A coping card.
That's right, a coping card. So how'd that go? Was that helpful? Did you enjoy doing it or having the card with you?
Yeah, when I could find it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made it like to the car after the session.
Okay, so the card may have not been the best thing for you this past week.
No, I couldn't keep track of it.
Okay. That's okay, and that's totally fine. We'll work through trying to find, what actually does work for you, and something that you do not lose. Because something about therapy is that we were able to work through things together in our time together, but homework is extremely important too. So we'll be able to work through some things to help you outside the session. Okay? And that's totally okay that you lost your card. It's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and prioritize today's session. What is your main goal today? Well, you talked a little bit about work and how work was, you feel like unappreciated. Is that something that you would like to talk about? Or is there another issue with work that maybe you think I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been late a lot.
Okay.
Like every day.
Okay. So Being late, is that something that you'd like to talk a little bit more about?
Yeah.
Set the goal to, is it to be on time or to help you be on time? Is that what goal you would like to set today?
Yeah, I struggle to get out of bed in the morning.
Oh, okay. And then therefore that is what is causing you to be late.
Yes.
Okay. So struggling to get out of bed. Okay. So CBT is a therapy that I use. I talked a little bit about it last week. Do you remember anything about it?
No.
No? Okay, that's fine. It's a little bit difficult sometimes even for me to kind of grasp. But what it is it takes your thoughts and emotions and then looks deeper into them and how it affects your day to day. So how you act comes from an actual emotion, which comes from a thought that comes from a core belief. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about some emotions that you're having and then try and dig deeper and see what thoughts are causing those emotions. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah?
Good.
Okay, good. All right. So you mentioned that your goal is to be on time and that you're struggling a little bit to get out of bed in the morning. Tell me about a specific day that you had this past week where you struggled to get out of bed.
Well, that would be every day
Okay.
because I just lay in bed for like, I don't even know how long, 40 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about how much I suck.
Okay.
And then I still have to get ready
Mm-hmm.
and still make it to work. But do I care that I'm late?
Okay.
No.
Okay. So you said sometimes you think that you suck. That's what you said. So what other thoughts do you have?
I'm worthless. I feel guilty about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not appreciated.
Okay. So, but CBT is that we are going to challenge these thoughts that you have. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about these couple different thoughts that you said. You feel guilty and that you feel worthless. So is it okay if we talk a little bit about feeling worthless first? Okay. So I'm going to challenge these thoughts. So how much do you actually believe that you're worthless?
Like on a scale?
Yeah, on a scale. That's a good idea. On a scale of 1 to 100. 1 being that you actually don't believe it whatsoever, and 100 being like you actually 100% believe that you are worthless.
Maybe 75?
75? Okay. All right. So at a 75%, that's pretty strong. That's a pretty strong belief that you do feel worthless. So you mentioned some things at work, and you mentioned these thoughts of getting out of bed. Where was I thinking? I lost my train of thought. Okay, so 75%. What evidence do you have to prove that you are worthless? You may not have any. You may have some things, but what specific evidence do you have?
I have no friends.
You have no friends?
No one.
Okay, so you thinking that because you have no friends is because you feel that you're worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think there might be an alternative explanation for that?
For why I don't have friends?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think that might be?
I don't really do anything to make friends.
Okay. So, if you what could be some things that you could do to make friends?
Go out after work.
Okay. So if you had a friend in this situation that was struggling with feelings of worthlessness, what would you tell them?
To not believe their thoughts.
To not believe their thoughts. Okay. And what would you put instead of that?
That there is someone that like thinks that you're important and appreciates you.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one person.
Yeah. That's really good. That's a really good thought. That is progress. And do you think maybe that is something that you could take through into your own thoughts?
You could try.
Okay. All right. So the coping card that we used last week, you said that you lost it or whatever. And what do you think would be a way to take that thought that you just mentioned, that you would say to your friend that they actually aren't worthless, and that there could be somebody out there if they were to try and make friends, that there could be, like you said, at least one person. What could be a way for you to maybe set some homework between now and then?
Well, all I know, we just tried the coping card and that didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know what other homework ideas.
Okay, so one of the things with CBT is to do some problem solving. And like you had already mentioned too, would be to maybe go out and try something after work. Do you think that is something that you could maybe do?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. So, but we'll get back into that. So, feelings of worthlessness. Let's go ahead and challenge these thoughts just a little bit more. So, at work, you mentioned that you've got things going on with your work people. Can you tell me a little bit more about that too?
Well, my boss calls me into his office probably every day. He doesn't want to fire me, but he knows that if I don't start showing up to work, he has no choice. On time.
Okay. And so that goes back to being your thoughts in the morning. So we talked a little bit about what you would say to a friend if they were struggling with those feelings of worthlessness. What are some other things that you feel in the morning, or maybe some alternate explanations or some alternate thoughts that you could have in the mornings?
Just the opposite.
Yeah, just opposite. So, homework wise, we said maybe going out after work or doing something like that, and that's something that we can talk about too. But if you were to do something in the morning that's different, that would maybe help you to think more of those positive thoughts, the opposite thoughts, like you said. What could be something like that you could do? That would be an alternative.
Like what thoughts I could say?
Yeah.
I could say that I am worth something. I am competent at my job. People do appreciate me.
Okay.
I do work hard.
Okay, so that's a lot of really great thoughts, some alternate thoughts that you could have. So since I'm asking you these questions and you're saying them, how much do you actually believe those thoughts? That
like a 40.
Okay. So, working towards those thoughts are more having a more positive outlook on those things in the morning. Do you think those could be beneficial for you, for maybe getting out of bed earlier if you were to have those thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah, it would. Okay. So since let's kind of come back to it all and take another look at it. So you mentioned that your thoughts in the morning are that you feel worthless, and then we talked a little about maybe some alternate thoughts and to challenge those thoughts. And right now you said that you kind of believe them at about a 40%. And so by using those thoughts and taking those thoughts and having being positive, do you think that maybe that would help you get out of bed earlier in the morning?
I don't know, because the actions that I see every day don't correspond with the positive
Okay.
words, so I don't believe them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't.
Yeah. Well, that's completely understandable, and I can see that. So since you haven't had that experience, you haven't been able to be there and try those things out, do you think that is something that maybe you could try to see if that would, just to see, we could do one thing and try it one step at a time, just to see if maybe your day changed later on?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right. So in CBT, we started out this portion of our session, and you said you're about at a 75% of those thoughts of feeling worthless. And so at work, what evidence do you have that is on the positive side? You said that sometimes at work people will you mentioned that that people do actually appreciate you. What positive thought or what positive experience, like actual experience, is evidence that you are being appreciated?
Well, I guess since they haven't fired me yet, they know they're trying to work with me.
Yeah.
So they understand I'm struggling, and they don't want to just fire me. So I mean, they're trying as much as they can to help.
Yeah. Okay, well that's great. That's good. Okay, so we started out, like I said, at a 75%. Now that we've kind of worked through some things and talked about maybe some changes and talked about your feelings and challenged those thoughts, where do you see yourself now on that scale of 1 to 100?
65.
Okay, so us challenging our thoughts actually lowered it a little bit. Is that helpful for you? Is that
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is maybe set some actual specific goals for next week, or some homework. Since we kind of talked a little bit about some maybe potential ideas, let's go ahead and set something specific. Is that okay? Okay. So with the coping card didn't work because you said you lost it. What would be an easier way for you to work through some things?
Maybe if I saw like positive words, like just in places.
Okay. Positive words in places. Positive words for yourself, like about yourself? Yeah. Okay. So what if you wrote down one positive word for your room and for your car?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So that will, I think that would be, do you think that would be a good idea?
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, that'll be a good homework assignment. Do you think there's anything that could get in the way of that? Have you?
Just myself.
Just yourself. Okay.
Like I'll see it and then I'll just ignore it.
Okay. So when that happens, what is maybe something that you could do with that?
Put more.
Put more? Okay. So a CBT, like I said, is challenging those thoughts. What if when you saw those words and then you had those negative thoughts, you wrote down those negative thoughts, and then you wrote along with that thought what percentage you actually believe that? Yeah? Okay. Do you think that would be like a good way for you to like visually see what is happening with your thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do that twice.
Okay.
Twice? Is that okay? Do you think that's something that you can do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alrighty, so today we talked a lot about things. We had a short amount of time. We talked about how your week was last week. We talked about some of your thoughts, how work is going, and we worked through some new homework, which is writing down 2 positive words for your room and for your car, and then two times where your thoughts were negative, and then you challenging those thoughts. Okay, so go ahead and give me a little bit of some feedback from today's session.
Today was good.
Mhm.
I feel like if I keep coming, it'll get better every time as it has.
Okay.
So,
Okay, good.
yeah.
That's good to hear. Is there anything that you would change about today's session?
No, I think it was good.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that today was good. And as our sessions go on, we'll be able to create more of a relationship where we're able to say what is working and what isn't. Since it's still early, that's okay. All right, well, thank you so much, Kristen, for coming and for meeting me, and I will see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.